Welcome back to the Off the Post podcast. I'm your host, Cade Krackus, and man, has it been a wonderful year for the NOSL. It feels like we're flying by each and every week. We're through the regular season nearly, and then that means we're into the postseason. So we've got to explore a lot of different things here today. We've got matches, we've got standings, we've got playoff scenarios, we've got our championship date set in stone for the back half of July, and we're covering all of that here today, including our League Cup result that we had from this past weekend. As a reminder, don't go anywhere. We've got lots of things to cover here today in this episode. Stay tuned here on Off the Post. We interrupt this episode of the NOSL Off the Post podcast to remind you that the official 2025 sponsor of the NOSL is Alanovus Corp. A big thank you to Alanovus Corp in all that you do. The NOSL and Alanovus Corp, creating impact, building community, and bringing the game to life. Well, we're here in week 9. Let's take a look at our matches that we had played this past week. It wasn't a lot, just 6 to be exact. First and foremost, a 1-0 victory for Delaware Rising over Greater Columbus FC. That keeps them in the hunt for the number 1 spot in the first division. Greater Columbus, though, still in the hunt for the final spot in the playoffs, that number 4 spot. They're competing against a couple other sides to try to secure that down. So down the back half of the year, they're going to have to stay focused and look to secure any points possible. That's all that we have for the men's first division. Let's take a look at the men's second division. Forest City with a 15-7 victory over Raiders Football Club. 22 total goals scored between the two sides, an incredible amount. And then we go to just a 2-0 result. Akron United taking down AFC Kent, just a 2-0 difference between those two sides. In the men's Northwest division, another high-scoring affair, 13 goals being scored. AC Elite maintains their third place spot in the standings with that 5-goal victory over FC Perrysburg in the Northwest division. And last but not least, our women's division, 2 10-0 victories for Susserfuss Belverin, 10-0 over Mansfield Liederkranz, and 10-0 over Twinsburg United. That's all that we have for our matches through week 9. What a big week that we have coming up in this next week, though. Make sure not to miss out on any of it by tuning into the Off the Post podcast every single week. And you're probably thinking, we have a match missing. Well, guess what? That's the League Cup Championship. We'll talk more about it coming here soon. Stay tuned on the Off the Post podcast. You probably thought I was going to go into the League Cup result from this past weekend, but not yet. We're going to take a look at our standings after the matches that were played in the regular season. In the men's first division, it's Delaware Rising atop the table with 21 points, followed by Ohio City and Mansfield Liederkranz with 19 apiece. You see those 3 teams towards the top of the table in the men's first division? Well, they certainly have their spots on a lock right now. They might be able to shuffle up and down, but they're making the playoffs. Well, guess what? 4, 5, and 6, it's a heated race right now. Worcester FC, Ashland United, and Greater Columbus all fighting for the sole playoff spot left, and they all sit there with 13 points, and 12 points. Each team as well, 4 total wins, so it's down the back half of the year that these teams have to stay focused and cannot afford to miss out on any points. Moving into our men's second division, let's take a look at Group A to begin here. Akron United has clinched the playoffs and clinched home field advantage for the semifinals with 22 points in that number 1 spot. Forest City FC and AFC Kent are the next 2 teams competing for the number 2 spot in the last playoff spot for Group A. Moving into Group B, it's Paxos FC with 25 points atop the ladder with their spot secured in the playoffs and home field advantage secured as well. Well, guess what? Just like Group A, that number 2 spot in Group B is being fought for between Mansfield Liederkranz 2 and Black Clover FC, who will turn it up down the back half of the year and secure that last playoff spot in Group B. Make sure to stay tuned to find out. Moving into our men's Northwest and women's division, this is where we see some excitement starting to brew in both sides. Teams really starting to find their footing. That's AC Elite in the number 3 spot in the Northwest division. They have got 9 games played under their belt, 11 points. They're 7 behind Firelands United in that number 2 spot, and then Valentis Athletica with 19 points. Both Valentis Athletica and Firelands United have secured home field advantage for the semifinal rounds, but we're still waiting to see where AC Elite and FC Perrysburg can match themselves up in the playoffs if they can potentially pull off a big-time upset. Moving into our women's division, it's Sasserfoss Belverin who has clinched the #1 spot and have clinched home field advantage for the semifinals. Ohio City SD just behind with 21 points, and then Delaware Rising with 15 points in that third spot. Well, guess what? We're still waiting to see what happens in the number 4 and 5 spots there. Panthers FC and Twinsburg United trying to battle for the last spot in the playoffs. Like we've talked about, man, this is the best time of the year. Seeing these standings shift up and down, seeing teams fight for playoff spots. You don't want to miss out on any of this. So tune into the Off the Post podcast every week where we bring you updates on where teams currently sit and what they have in store for us come playoff time. We're just a couple weeks away. Make sure to stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Our interviews come in soon alongside our League Cup updates right here on the Off the Post podcast. A men's first division side taking on a men's Northwest division side. That's the beauty of the League Cup, getting to see so many different teams take on one another and battle it out for some hardware. A chance to be crowned a champion, and on Sunday, July 6th, Delaware Rising took home their first trophy. Well, we have our interview coming up now with Delaware Rising, two of their men's captains who also hold other roles in the organization. They're going to talk about the victory, the goals for Delaware Rising down the back half of the year, and much, much more. Stay tuned. That interview is coming now here on Off the Post. Welcome back to the Off the Post podcast. I'm your host, Cade Krackus. I'm now joined by two members of Delaware Rising, Landon and Sam. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Of course. It's great to get you guys in here, especially considering the success Delaware Rising has had this year. But before we jump right into things, Landon and Sam, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so my name's Landon. I've been on Delaware Rising for 4 years now, and I captained for 3 years. And then I'm also the women's coach this year, so very involved with Delaware Rising. So,
yeah, and my name's Sam. I have been with Delaware Rising for 2 years now. This is my first year being captain, and then I'm also the director of marketing. So I run all of our social medias, our websites, our print materials, and yeah, just kind of everything with Delaware Rising and everything on the back end.
For sure. And you guys have obviously had tremendous success this season. It's been something really awesome to see for you guys. So Landon, first and foremost, taking a look at the League Cup Championship happened this past weekend. You guys took home the silverware there. So how does it feel for the team to take home that victory?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Like I said, I've been with Delaware Rising for 4 years, and feels a little dirty that this is our first piece of silverware. So I'm super happy that, super rewarding that we finally got our hands on some silverware, and, in dramatic fashion too, with 8 goals. So
for sure. And Sam, I was just about to ask you that 8 goals, 8-0. Yeah. You guys ended up scoring, I think it was 15 goals throughout the entire League Cup and gave up just 1. I mean, did you guys expect to have that type of dominance?
I mean, offensively this year, it's definitely been insane. We have a couple guys up top in specific, like Lincoln Wallace, Aiden Shepperson. Those guys have really held it down for us, and they're just looking to score and take their first touch forward with every possession. So, it's bound to happen that we put up goals, and then equal credit to our defense to have a clean sheet in this last match as well.
And Landon, moving forward as well with the League Cup next year, you guys going to hope to run it back?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always a fun competition, especially playing teams that you don't see in the first division. So, we'll certainly look to defend our title next year.
Yeah, and Sam, speaking of that a little bit too, you talk about the opportunity to play against different teams and see what your team can offer against other divisions. For you and the team, what have you guys seen from those other divisions in the second division and the Northwest division?
I mean, it's definitely still competitive. When you look at NOSL as a whole, the separation between Division I and Division II seems to be there, but then when you get on the field, the play is really pretty equal. Like when we took on Akron United in the semifinals, it was a pretty deadlock game for the first half, and then we just kind of took it away in the later portion of the second half. So it is good to see the league growing, as well as just the talent that's entering the league.
Yeah, and Landon, moving into the regular season side of things, we obviously talked about the League Cup, but even in the regular season, you guys are dominating right now. You guys sit with a plus 26 goal differential. You're 7-0-1 with 21 points. You're sitting in that prime spot to clinch the playoffs. Right now, just looking to clinch home field advantage in the semifinals. What's the expectations down the back half of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we're taking it game by game for sure, and we know nothing's guaranteed. So, we could go to Mansfield this weekend and end up losing and not hosting. So we definitely want to, keep our dominance and try to keep winning every game. And we're just grateful for each and every game. So.
For sure. And Sam, you take a look at the playoffs just around the bend. It'll take place on Saturday, July 19th. The following weekend will be the championship, Saturday, July 26th. For you guys, is there a period right now where you're trying to rest guys, get guys into perfect form? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, the latter half of this season has definitely been a lot grindier. We're, like Landon said, we're just taking it game by game right now. But recovery and activation sessions is really huge for us. So, just getting on the pitch with the boys, making sure everyone's feeling right. But so far this year, everyone's wanted to go 100% at every training and every game. So, there's the opportunity to rest and recover, but the group of guys we put together just have that drive that they want to get better and participate in every training and then get on the pitch and, bring it home. So it's good to see. Just a group of guys in the caliber we have that they're willing to go 90 minutes every game and then, 100 minutes every training.
For sure. Landon, taking a look at the last three results, it's been kind of all over the place. If you take a look at it, 8-0 win over Twinsburg, then an 8-4 win against Ohio City SC, then a 1-0 win against Greater Columbus. How do you guys find consistency down the back half of the year as well?
Yeah, I mean, I always say this, that great teams find a way to win. So whether it's, conceding 3 unanswered goals at City of Ohio or having a tough game versus Greater Columbus, like we've done a really good job of finding a way to win no matter what. And I think we are starting to find our strides and our identity towards the end of the year. Attacking, obviously we're scoring a lot of goals, but also defending, we're really starting to get more clean sheets and really starting to defend really well as well.
Sam, taking a look at your guys' only loss for this year, it came out just one singular goal way earlier in the season. How did you put that loss behind you guys and keep moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea, is just kind of flushing the loss. Taking the lessons that we learned in that match and just applying them to training, as well as our matches moving forward. It's okay to be frustrated in the moment and, take that night to kind of look back on what we did wrong and what we can improve on. But at the end of the day, like Landon and I have been saying, it's one game at a time and just making sure that we refine ourselves, as well as move forward. There is a chance that we do see them again in the semifinals. So, if we do, we'd like to change that result and definitely take it to them head on.
For sure. And my last question for you guys, Landon, first and foremost, you've been with the club for quite some time now. What's your hopes for the team moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's impressed me every single year with Delaware Rising, just like growing the professionalism. So I just hope that we continue to keep that. I think we pride ourselves on being like one of the most professional clubs in the league. And then just growing like our depth and our player base. We added a bunch of new young guys this year, so hopefully they can keep growing with the club. So I just want to keep seeing growth with the club.
And Sam, you can directly help with that. How do you hope to see the marketing and the promotion side of things continue to grow for the club as well?
Yeah, so we're big on sponsorships, but this year we've kind of introduced partnerships. So they're non-paying companies and local businesses in Delaware that we'll partner with to promote them, as well as them promoting us. And then also through youth camps and just really diving into the foundation of our club, which is charity, as well as helping out our community. So looking forward, at the end of July, we'll be hosting a youth camp with the local team, Delaware Knights. And then we're looking to open that up over the next year or so to just anyone who's interested in participating. So just kind of bootstrapping everything and really getting everyone to buy into the same mission that, soccer is growing in the U.S. and that it should be accessible to everyone, as well as it's a great opportunity to, go out and do something on a Friday night or Saturday night for locals. So there's a lot of things on the back end we are working on and looking to introduce, but overall there's just big things coming, and hopefully we can start making some announcements this year.
For sure. Well, both of you, thanks so much for joining me here today, and good luck in the back half of the year as you guys look to host some more hardware towards the end of the year.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
We interrupt this episode of the NOSL Off the Post podcast to remind you that the official 2025 sponsor of the NOSL is Alanovus Corp. A big thank you to Alanovus Corp in all that you do. The NOSL and Alanovus Corp, creating impact, building community, and bringing the game to life. Before we go, I'd like to remind everyone that the playoffs are just a short few weeks away. We're just into the second week of July, and in the last week of July, we'll have all excitement coming your way in the playoffs with the championship games occurring on Saturday, July 26th for the men's first division, Friday, July 25th for the men's second division, Sunday, July 27th for the men's Northwest division, and Saturday, July 26th for the women's division. Every week, we'll fill you in on where teams currently stand in terms of their playoff hunt, and as we get closer, we'll be able to see our championship bouts and who will be competing to fight for a chance to be crowned the champion of their respective division. Make sure to stay tuned. We'll catch you guys next time here on Off the Post.